are you Sarah's attorney?
No, I am her minister.
Okay.
So her and River are in our ministry. So I'm the pastor of Walking for the Forgotten Ministry. So I'm her minister.
Is she there with you?
No, she is in a safe house. I have dozens of them throughout America. I've been using them in secret for over 7 years. This is the first time we've ever had a case that's been brought out to the public. So she's in a safe location with their son, and everything they need is provided for them, and it will always be so. They won't need for anything as long as they're in our care.
Explain to me a bit more what the safe house is for.
Our ministry will provide sanctuary to anyone who is being victimized, no matter who the victimizer is. In this case, Sarah's case, we have a family court system and a very, very ferocious attorney on the other side against a mother who has no lawyer and is just drowning in all these legal maneuvers they're throwing against her. Now, when we see a child, River Stanley, especially when they're in our ministry, and they're attempting to take a child away from an unfit mother. Now, I have ran homeless shelters. I had 9 homeless shelters in Arizona at one point. I have helped families get off addiction, get their children back. I have seen where the government had to come in, and we've had to call them before and say, we need a safe place for this child. So CPS has gotten some children, but majority of the time, we don't ever have to get the government involved. We solve things ourselves. Sarah and River are being targeted. Their pictures are all over Driggs, Idaho, flyers. Her name is being smeared in the community. She hasn't broken any law. She has not harmed her child once. She hasn't done a single thing to harm her kid. So we're just going to do what we always do. Just because it's the government doesn't make it right. This is the first time we've had to hide a family from the government itself. And I don't like this at all. So
what about the rights of River's father?
The problem that we have is you have family courts who are violating the rights of the mother. And as minister, our church can mediate anything between father, mother, and son. It'd be far better for the family courts to get out of our way, and then we could sit down and actually hold mediation. We've done this successfully on dozens of times. Our whole job is to find a solution for the problem. Right now, we have an issue where a father suddenly wants to get his kid, and he wants to vaccinate his kid, and there's an agreement that he isn't to be vaccinated. They agreed on this in prior stipulations within the courts, and you have a Democratic socialist as an attorney who's on the record, and she's all for jabbing kids, making them wear masks. Christians should be locked up for what they're doing. I mean, this is all politics that I see that they're targeting this family over. You have a mother who doesn't want to jab her kid. You have a father who suddenly has people in Seattle trying to get him the virtue signal with him. We've done enough investigation on Mr. Jennings, and I don't want to, go out and do anything to make the father look worse than what he is, because we're hoping to build a bridge so father can become a father, mother can become a mother, and hopefully they can co-parent together. But at the route that they're going right now is they're escalating this. They're not giving us any opportunity that we have a right to have to solve this within our church. This isn't a family court matter. She was never married under the state. The state has no jurisdiction. She was never married to the state. The original custody said, Lee Jennings said she's a fit mother. She should be the sole provider. And then suddenly he did a flip, and now she's not a fit mother and shouldn't be the sole provider. And she wasn't keeping her son from him. I was there the day that they did the handoff. Lee Jennings left, contacted his lawyer, and the judge gave him custody. That woman was there at the sheriff's department with her son. I was there earlier in the morning with the handoff. So they've lied in court. They said she's not allowing the father. That's not true at all.
Didn't the judge rule that now the father has full custody?
Judge can't rule. He can't take. I don't care what a judge says. I don't care what any judge said. I've already seen the government and this heavy-hand bureaucracy come upon an innocent mother who's way in over her head trying to fight all these criminals. No judge in his right mind would say it is suitable for a man who's never had his son for more than 4 days to suddenly get full custody and take this child to Seattle, Washington, and deny the mother anything other than Skype visitation until she gets in compliance with court. She doesn't have to comply with any of these court orders. They're protecting an abuser. They're trying to put this child in the hands of a known domestic violence abuser. He's a womanizer, and he's trying to get this kid to vaccinate this kid, to virtue signal to his other families and in Seattle, and that's not going to happen. We're not going to allow anyone to inject a child with a bioweapon that's been proved to kill them, especially when the virus itself doesn't even harm the child.
Where is, you said Sarah's in a safe house, in Arizona?
To comply with any law enforcement telling us that we have to give her up.
So your message basically is, regardless of what Judge Colson said about everything yesterday, I guess, in this hearing, because she didn't show up, father has full custody, but you're saying Sarah's not going to turn the river over?
Absolutely not. She doesn't have to. I have flyers being made. These are digital flyers that are going into every truck stop across the United States of America. It will have the faces of Lori Gaffney, Judge B. Colsey, Teton County Sheriff, criminal investigator Brandon Hobbs, and Lee Jennings, 5 individuals that have continued to target my members in our church who don't mean anyone harm. These are digital child predator flyers. We are going to be putting over 100 in Driggs and Victor, Idaho, on their buildings, in the businesses, with these 5 individual faces named. They are child predators. As long as they are pursuing 3-year-old River Stanley, who is in the safe custody of his mother, I don't care what law enforcement says. I don't answer to the government. The government works for us, not the other way around. This child will not be handed over to them, and good luck trying to find them. Even your U.S. Marshals, I got people in there too. So we have people inside that's helped us for years. We've never, ever allowed a child to become harmed under our watch, and we're not going to force a mother to hand her son over to a father who's never had him but for more than 4 days in his entire life. Now, you tell me how that's in the best interest of the child, to take a 3-year-old boy from the only mother he's known, the only protector and provider he's had, and put him in the hands of a stranger who doesn't even know him, doesn't know his schedule, doesn't know his diet, doesn't know his behavior, any of that. You don't do that to a child. Anyone who's a parent would agree with us 1,000%. You can't suddenly give custody away, take custody from a mother when she was incompliant. It was the other individual who was not there for the last handoff. And this attorney knew this. She told him to leave, and then she filed with the judge, and then the judge gave him sole custody based on a lie. I was there. I had another one of my volunteers there. She was there at the sheriff's department. They lied and said that she kept him from seeing. That's not what happened at all. And the judge knows this. So we have a serious issue with Judge Colson because he continues to protect these criminals who are targeting a woman and child in our ministry.
Hey,
they're not going to hand them over.
Tell me about your church, Michael. How many members do you have?
I have over 300 members across the United States of America in Walking for the Forgotten ministry.
And when did you start it?
It was founded in 2013 to combat the veteran suicide epidemic.
And are you a veteran?
And from awareness, it's a veteran suicide prevention program that she's in right now. It's Veterans on Patrol. This is a suicide prevention program I created to combat veteran suicides. For 3 years, I was on the streets building homeless shelters, helping families, fighting CPS in some cases. Very few we've had to actually work with them. Most of the time we can find someone to take care of the child. But we have a track record of over 3 years just dealing with homeless children, homeless women, drug addicts, homeless veterans. And for the past 3.5 years, I've been running a border operation. We've gotten over 5,000 children extracted from the border, and that's all documented on my news channel. Everything's on there. All the videos, all the work we do, everything we do to protect women and children. There is nothing but over 100-something operations that we've ran on that border.
5,000 children.
We've gotten way more than 5,000 children off the border. Go look at our channel. I mean, we had 14,000 dumped on my property in Pima County, Arizona in July of last year. I am the Pima County president of the Border Property Owners Association. So I started buying property, donating it for Border Patrol, and I got camps all over the border working to stop the cartel from trafficking children through our property.
So where are all these kids now?
Oh, the children that we're extracting from the border?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll tell you, a majority of them ends up transported over to Texas, and they're being sent to sponsors across the United States of America. Every sponsor of 300 cases that I am personally dealing with 300 children that I personally extract, there's 332. Of all these children, none of them have a sponsor who's here legally. They've all crossed within the past 2 to 3 years. It is chain migration. They're not allowed to enforce immigration against anyone who will sponsor an unaccompanied child from the border. So all of the sponsors are illegals. So we have children that we sponsored, and we track them to their location. We provide them school books. If they're not in a safe situation, we remove them, and we put them in safe places, and we do a lot without the government's knowing, because the government is the one trafficking these children. I have Border Patrol agents, and I have plenty of recordings of women and children that we pulled off the border road, and agents turned around the next morning and put them back in the hands of the cartel. I have their recorded testimony as they're terrified in the hotel back across the side in Mexico, wondering what to do. They're going to make them cross again, and they're recycling these children. So normally I'm not dealing with American children, but this is the first case that we have where the government's going after one of our own children, and I don't like that. And we're not going to.
How did you connect with Sarah? Did you say you connected 3.5 years ago with her?
No, when I connected with Sarah is really nobody's business.
Did she find you, or did you find her?
There is someone who's been advocating her for a long time, and he asked for help for her and the mother, and they've been hiding her and taking care of her way before this.
So why doesn't she get an attorney? You said she can't afford an attorney, but couldn't the court appoint her?
How is she going to afford an attorney when the abuser took all of the money, took her car, and left her penniless without a place to live? That's a fact. So how is she going to afford an attorney when she has no income coming in, and she's completely reliant upon our church trying to help her and family members keeping an eye on her and her kid until we get this custody thing taken care of? How is she going to get an attorney? You tell me. Single mom, the abuser took everything's documented. It's all a matter of court record. Everything I'm telling you is truth. You guys want to make a hero out of a guy who wants to see his kid after 3 years just so he can vaccinate him? Go ahead, because we got all kinds of stuff on Mr. Jennings. And the public and parents and other Christians are going to see exactly what's happening here. This woman is being targeted because of her faith, because she's holistic. She's not vaccinated. Her son's not vaccinated. And these people want to get this child vaccinated at any cost. They're not thinking of what's in the best interest of River. Why would you inject this kid with a bioweapon when he's healthy and happy and has a holistic lifestyle with his mother? She don't need to get a court-appointed attorney. The court has no jurisdiction. This is a family matter. She was never married to the father. This child is safe. We're not going to hand this child over, and we will go after these courts. I will go after these people publicly. I will let everyone know they are child predators, they are child abusers, and they're persecuting a good mother, a very good mother.
All right, well, you can do that, but I don't...
I will.
Okay, but...
Yeah, I'm going to. I'm a journalist. Everything I say is backed up by videos. So just understand, when you go, that no one has rescued more children as a church than our ministry from the border. No one has even provided as many homeless shelters as a Christian ministry. Our track record, regardless of my criminal past when I used to be a bad guy, our track record for the past 12 years is astounding.
Hey, Michael,
of what we've done.
Are there any conditions under which Sarah would let him see River?
Yes, Sarah's told the court, and we've said we want the court out of it. We will sit with Mr. Jennings, Sarah, and son as a church, absent of all attorneys, absent of all judges. We will set a time, sit down, and have time to see what we can solve moving forward without all these other people in law enforcement and all this bureaucracy involved. I believe that we could sit down and do it a whole lot better.
Well, you say that you don't recognize the court. What if the father doesn't recognize your church?
It doesn't matter if the father doesn't recognize the church. We still have a First Amendment right in the United States of America, and I have a right to exercise my faith. And when the God of Abraham tells me to provide sanctuary to women and children, the God of Abraham provides the land, the houses, and the means to take care of it. Well, then I'm going to continue doing what the God of Abraham tells me to do. I'm not answering to these courts. It doesn't matter what the father believes. The mother is the only one that matters in this situation.
Anything you want to add?
No, just that we're asking everyone to pray for this kid, and she's been hiding enough. This kid wants to come out and go home, and he wants to have a normal life. And that's all we're trying to get done here. And it's not going to happen by ripping the child from the mother. It's the worst thing you could do.